Today we are bringing you an important update that millions of Americans have been waiting to hear. A new executive order connected to stimulus payments and financial relief has created a wave of attention across the country, especially among retirees and older adults who rely on fixed incomes. The announcement surrounding Dividend stimulus checks has raised many questions about what this could mean for Social Security beneficiaries, pension recipients, and seniors who depend on government support programs. In this update, we will explain what this executive order means, how dividend-style stimulus payments could work, and what seniors across the United States should understand about possible payments, eligibility rules, and the broader impact on retirement benefits. Over the past few years, stimulus payments have played a major role in helping Americans manage rising costs of living. Many seniors remember the direct payments that were issued during the pandemic period, which provided much-needed relief for households dealing with inflation, medical expenses, and everyday necessities. Those payments helped millions of people pay for food, housing, prescriptions, and utilities. Now, with the idea of dividend stimulus checks being discussed again, many retirees are wondering whether a new form of financial support could soon arrive. The concept behind dividend stimulus checks is slightly different from traditional stimulus payments. Instead of being presented only as emergency financial relief, dividend-style payments are often described as a way for citizens to receive a share of national economic growth or government-generated revenue. In simple terms, the idea suggests that when certain government revenues increase, a portion of that money could be returned directly to citizens in the form of payments. For seniors living on fixed incomes, even a modest payment could make a meaningful difference in managing monthly expenses. Many older Americans today rely heavily on programs such as Social Security retirement benefits, disability benefits, and supplemental security income. These programs provide essential support, but they are often adjusted slowly compared to the pace of inflation. When prices rise quickly for groceries, housing, or healthcare, seniors can feel the pressure almost immediately. That is why any discussion about additional stimulus payments or dividend-based checks tends to attract strong interest among retirees and people approaching retirement age. Another reason this announcement is getting so much attention is because seniors tend to have limited opportunities to increase their income. Unlike younger workers, retirees cannot easily take on additional employment or significantly increase their earnings. Their financial stability depends largely on government programs, pensions, personal savings, and investments accumulated over a lifetime of work. When unexpected economic changes occur, seniors often have fewer options for adjusting their finances quickly. This is also why policymakers frequently emphasize the importance of protecting retirement benefits and ensuring that older adults can maintain financial security. Programs like Social Security were created specifically to provide stability during retirement, but even these benefits sometimes struggle to keep pace with rising living costs. If dividend stimulus checks become part of a broader policy approach, they could represent an additional layer of support designed to help Americans manage economic changes more effectively. Many experts say that the idea of dividend-style payments is not entirely new. Some states in the United States already have programs that distribute annual dividends based on natural resource revenue or investment funds. These programs demonstrate that it is possible for governments to share certain types of revenue directly with residents. However, implementing a nationwide dividend stimulus system would require careful planning, funding decisions, and long-term economic strategies. For seniors, the most important question is not the political debate, but the practical impact. Older adults want to know whether they could qualify for any potential payments, how those payments might be distributed, and whether receiving them would affect their existing benefits. These concerns are completely understandable, especially for individuals who depend on predictable monthly income to cover essential expenses. Another major issue seniors are paying attention to is inflation. Over the past few years, the cost of living has risen in many areas of the country. Food prices, energy bills, housing costs, and healthcare expenses have all increased, placing additional pressure on fixed incomes. Even when Social Security benefits receive annual cost of living adjustments, those increases sometimes lag behind the actual rate of inflation experienced by retirees. For many households, a one-time payment can help bridge the gap during periods of economic stress. It may not solve long-term financial challenges, but it can provide short-term relief and help families cover urgent costs. That is why stimulus programs often focus on delivering payments quickly and directly to individuals who need them most. At the same time, it is important to understand that executive orders alone do not always create permanent financial programs. In many cases, additional legislation or congressional approval may still be necessary before large-scale payments can be distributed nationwide. This is one of the reasons why updates about stimulus programs often develop gradually over time, with new information emerging as policymakers continue discussions. For seniors who depend on Social Security or pension income, staying informed about these developments can be extremely valuable. Understanding how new policies might interact with existing benefits helps retirees make better financial decisions and avoid unnecessary confusion or misinformation. Another factor that makes this topic especially important for older Americans is healthcare spending. Medical costs often increase as people age, and many retirees must budget carefully to cover insurance premiums, prescription medications, and doctor visits. Even a relatively small stimulus payment can help offset these expenses and provide some financial breathing room. Many seniors also support family members, including adult children or grandchildren. When economic conditions become challenging, retirees sometimes step in to help loved ones cover bills or emergency costs. Additional financial assistance from government programs can therefore have a ripple effect that supports entire families. Financial stability during retirement depends on careful planning and consistent income sources. While stimulus payments are typically temporary, they can still play a meaningful role in strengthening short-term financial security. For seniors who live on tight budgets, every dollar can help maintain independence and peace of mind. It is also worth noting that many retirees are extremely cautious with their finances. After decades of saving and planning, seniors often focus on protecting their resources and avoiding unnecessary risks. Clear information about potential payments allows them to plan responsibly and avoid scams or misleading claims that sometimes appear when major financial programs are discussed in the news. Whenever new stimulus proposals emerge, scammers unfortunately attempt to take advantage of confusion by contacting seniors with false promises of early payments or special enrollment programs. That is why reliable information and official updates are so important. Seniors should always rely on trusted government announcements rather than unsolicited phone calls or messages. In the coming sections of this update, we will continue explaining how dividend stimulus checks could potentially work, how they might interact with retirement programs, and why this topic matters so much for older Americans. Understanding these details can help seniors stay informed, protect their finances, and make the most of any opportunities that become available. For now, the most important takeaway is that discussions about new forms of financial support are continuing, and many policymakers are looking closely at ways to strengthen economic stability for retirees and households across the country. Programs that provide direct payments have proven in the past that they can deliver meaningful relief during times of economic uncertainty. Seniors who stay informed and prepared will always be in the best position to benefit from any new developments. By understanding how these programs work and what they are designed to accomplish, retirees can approach financial changes with confidence rather than uncertainty. As we continue this important update, it is helpful to understand more clearly what the idea of dividend stimulus checks actually means and why this concept is receiving so much attention. For many seniors and retirees across the United States, the phrase dividend stimulus may sound unfamiliar at first. However, the underlying idea is relatively simple. A dividend payment generally refers to money distributed to individuals from a shared source of revenue or profits. When applied to government policy, this concept suggests that a portion of certain national revenues could be returned directly to citizens in the form of payments. The reason this concept is being discussed again is largely connected to the broader conversation about economic fairness and financial stability. Over the years, many economists and policymakers have explored the idea that when government revenues grow through taxes, investments, or other national resources, a portion of that growth could be shared with the public. The goal is to ensure that economic progress benefits not only large institutions or corporations, but also everyday citizens, including seniors who have contributed to the economy throughout their working lives. For retirees, the idea of receiving a dividend-style stimulus check can be especially meaningful. Many seniors spent decades paying taxes, contributing to Social Security, and helping build the economic strength of the country. When discussions arise about returning a portion of government revenue to citizens, some policymakers frame it as a way of recognizing those long-term contributions. This perspective is one reason why dividend payments often receive strong support among older adults who feel that they have earned a fair share of the nation's prosperity. Another reason the idea is gaining attention is the ongoing concern about the financial pressures facing retirees. While Social Security benefits provide essential support, they are not always enough to cover all living expenses, particularly in areas where housing, healthcare, and food prices have increased significantly. Even retirees who receive pension payments may find that their income does not stretch as far as it once did. When economic conditions change rapidly, additional financial support can help stabilize household budgets. It is important to understand that dividend stimulus checks are not necessarily intended to replace existing programs such as Social Security, Medicare, or supplemental security income. Instead, they are often discussed as a supplemental form of financial support. In other words, these payments could serve as an additional source of income rather than a replacement for established benefits that seniors already depend on. For many older Americans, maintaining a stable monthly budget is one of the most important aspects of retirement planning. Fixed incomes require careful management because unexpected price increases can quickly disrupt financial balance. For example, if grocery prices rise sharply or energy bills increase during the winter months, retirees must adjust their spending in other areas. A stimulus payment, even if it is temporary, can provide flexibility during these periods of financial pressure. The discussion around dividend stimulus checks also reflects broader economic concerns affecting people of all ages. Inflation has become a central issue in recent years, and its effects are often felt most strongly by those living on fixed incomes. When prices increase faster than benefit adjustments, the purchasing power of retirees gradually declines. That means the same amount of money buys fewer goods and services than it did in previous years. This is one reason why policymakers often consider direct payments during periods of economic uncertainty. By delivering money directly to households, governments can help offset some of the immediate effects of rising costs. Seniors in particular tend to use these payments for essential expenses such as food, medication, housing, and utility bills. Because these expenses are unavoidable, additional financial support can have a meaningful impact on everyday life. Another important aspect of dividend-style payments is the idea of economic participation. Many supporters of these programs believe that citizens should have a direct connection to national prosperity. When economic growth occurs or government revenues increase, dividend payments provide a way for individuals to share in that success. For retirees who spent decades contributing to the workforce, this approach can feel like a recognition of their lifelong role in building the country's economic foundation. At the same time, discussions about dividend stimulus checks often include questions about how such payments would be funded. Government programs require financial resources, and policymakers must consider how to balance new initiatives with existing budget responsibilities. Some proposals focus on revenues generated through natural resources, government investments, or special economic programs. Others explore the possibility of redirecting certain funds toward direct payments for citizens. For seniors who are trying to understand how these policies might affect them personally, the most important consideration is eligibility. In previous stimulus programs, eligibility rules were typically based on factors such as income levels, tax filing status, and residency. Social Security beneficiaries often qualified automatically because their income levels met the established thresholds. If dividend stimulus checks were implemented in a similar way, many retirees could potentially receive payments without needing to complete complicated application processes. Another concern that seniors frequently express involves the interaction between stimulus payments and existing government benefits. Some retirees worry that receiving additional payments might affect their eligibility for programs such as supplemental security income or housing assistance. Historically, most federal stimulus payments have been structured in a way that avoids reducing these benefits, but each new program may include its own specific rules. That is why it is always important for retirees to stay informed about official guidance when new payments are announced. Distribution methods are also an important topic in discussions about stimulus checks. In the past, payments were often delivered through direct deposit for individuals who had banking information on file with the federal government. Others received paper checks or prepaid debit cards through the mail. For seniors who rely on Social Security, payments were frequently sent using the same method that their monthly benefits are delivered. This approach helped ensure that funds reached recipients quickly and securely. Speed of delivery can be especially important during times of economic stress. When households are struggling with rising costs, timely payments can help prevent financial emergencies. Seniors living on fixed incomes may not have large emergency savings, so prompt assistance can make a significant difference in maintaining stability. Another factor to consider is how stimulus payments influence the broader economy. When individuals receive direct payments, they typically spend that money on everyday needs. This spending helps support local businesses, grocery stores, pharmacies, and service providers. As a result, stimulus programs often create a ripple effect that benefits communities across the country. For retirees, this economic activity can be particularly beneficial because many seniors live in smaller communities where local businesses play a vital role in daily life. When residents have more financial resources available, it supports the overall health of the community economy. This connection between direct payments and economic activity is one reason policymakers sometimes favor stimulus programs during periods of uncertainty. Seniors also tend to be careful and responsible with their finances. Many retirees prioritize essential expenses and avoid unnecessary risks. This cautious approach means that stimulus payments are often used in practical ways that strengthen financial security rather than encourage excessive spending. Paying down debt, covering medical costs, and building small emergency reserves are common ways retirees use additional funds. Another reason the topic of dividend stimulus checks resonates with seniors is the sense of reassurance it can provide. Retirement should ideally be a time of stability and peace of mind after decades of work. However, economic challenges can sometimes create uncertainty about the future. Knowing that policymakers are considering additional forms of support can help retirees feel more confident about their financial outlook. It is also important to remember that government programs often take time to develop and implement. Even when an executive order or proposal generates significant public attention, the details may continue evolving as policymakers review funding options and administrative procedures. During this process, clear communication becomes essential so that seniors understand what changes are being considered and what steps may follow. Retirees who remain informed about these developments are better prepared to respond when official announcements are made. Understanding how stimulus programs work allows seniors to avoid confusion and focus on the practical benefits that may become available. As discussions continue, many experts emphasize the importance of protecting existing retirement programs while exploring new forms of financial support. Social Security and Medicare remain the foundation of financial security for millions of Americans, and any new initiatives are generally designed to complement these programs rather than replace them. For seniors who rely on these benefits, maintaining stability and predictability is crucial. Additional payments can provide helpful support, but long-term retirement security still depends on the strength and reliability of established programs.